Oil prices rise as Iran denies receiving U.S. nuclear proposal. Oil prices rose more than 1% on Friday after Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, dismissed the likelihood of progress in nuclear negotiations with the U.S., saying no formal proposal had been received. Iran has not received any written proposal from the United States, whether directly or indirectly, Abbas said in a post on X. In the meantime, the messaging we and the world continue to receive is confusing and contradictory. Japan to hold out for better U.S. trade deal amid political pressure. Japan is pushing for the removal of 25% U.S. tariffs on its car, steel, and aluminum exports as it prepares to hold out for a better trade deal than risk domestic political backlash, the Financial Times reported. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba is under intense pressure from domestic stakeholders not to compromise key sectors like agriculture and autos. Although Japan was very keen to be the first nation to open negotiations with Washington on tariffs, that sense of urgency has now shifted, and the emphasis is on ensuring that Japan gets a good deal. A Tokyo official with direct knowledge of the negotiations told FT. Japan and U.S. negotiators have held 2 trade meetings, with a third scheduled next week. However, officials say a deal is unlikely to be finalized before Japan's upper house elections in July. Japan may offer greater market access for U.S. cars and agricultural goods, but Ishiba insists he won't sacrifice the domestic agriculture industry to win tariff relief. With Japan's GDP contracting for the first time in a year in the first quarter amid lower exports and stagnant consumer spending, the stakes are high.
OpenAI unveils software engineering AI agent Codex. OpenAI has introduced Codex, a software development assistant accessible via a sidebar in ChatGPT. According to the company, Codex can perform tasks for you such as writing features, answering questions about your codebase, fixing bugs, and proposing pull requests for review. Each task runs in its own cloud sandbox environment, preloaded with your repository. Codex is powered by Codex 1, a version of the OpenAI O3 model optimized for software engineering. It was trained using reinforcement learning on real-world coding tasks in a variety of environments to generate code that closely mirrors human style and PR preferences, adheres precisely to instructions, and can iteratively run tests until it receives a passing result, said the startup. The research preview of Codex is now available to ChatGPT Pro, Team and Enterprise users, with a rollout to Plus and EDU users coming soon. Uber's new route share cuts fares by 50%. Uber Eats drops savings slider to slash grocery bills. Uber Technologies hosted its annual Go Get event this week, highlighting a suite of new features focused on affordability and convenience. The company introduced route share, its most budget-friendly ride option yet, offering pickups every 20 minutes along high-demand routes for up to 50% less than UberX. Additional features included price locks and prepaid ride passes for fare predictability and savings. On the delivery side, Uber Eats launched the savings slider, allowing users to proactively compare grocery prices and make substitutions for added savings. Uber One membership perks were also expanded to include credits for Uber Rent and Lime rides, along with Uber One Member Days, a new week-long promo offering exclusive deals to subscribers.
Precision medicine milestone. Baby receives tailored CRISPR treatment. In a groundbreaking advancement in genetic medicine, doctors have successfully administered the first custom-designed CRISPR gene editing treatment to a 6-month-old infant named KJ Muldoon, who suffers from a rare and life-threatening genetic disorder, carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 1 deficiency. Traditional treatments, including restricted diets and medications, offer limited relief, and liver transplants are not viable for infants under 1 year. Instead, researchers employed an experimental CRISPR-based base editing therapy delivered via lipid nanoparticles. KJ received 3 carefully monitored doses, with doctors reporting encouraging results and no serious side effects. The therapy marks a major leap beyond current FDA-approved CRISPR treatments for sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia, which use uniform approaches. KJ's treatment was precisely tailored to his DNA, offering a glimpse into a future where on-demand gene therapies could become standard.
Nvidia, Mistral AI to launch Europe's largest AI campus in Paris by 2028. Nvidia has partnered with Mistral AI, UAE investment fund MGX, and French public bank Bpifrance to launch Europe's largest AI campus in Paris. The joint venture aims to create Europe's first purpose-built intelligence hub, with construction starting in the second half of 2026 and operations expected to begin in 2028. The campus will feature a 1.4 gigawatt capacity and support the full AI lifecycle, from model training and inference to deployment of generative and applied AI systems. It will support large-scale AI adoption in fields such as healthcare, mobility, energy, finance, and manufacturing, while advancing Europe's digital and climate sovereignty, the companies said.
First Solar slides as GOP pushes to axe green tax credits early. First Solar shares dropped sharply on Monday after Bloomberg reported that conservative Republican lawmakers secured a deal to end clean energy tax credits earlier than planned. This comes as a reversal to an earlier proposal that had called for several energy credits, including a tax incentive for clean energy production, to phase out beginning in 2029 and ending in 2032. However, House GOP leadership clarified that no final date has been set yet, and it's still unclear whether shovel-ready projects would be affected. The move is part of a compromise to push President Trump's tax and spending package forward.
ASP Isotopes and TerraPower Inc. loan and fuel supply agreements to build Hallow plant. ASP announced a loan agreement with TerraPower through its US-based subsidiary to partially finance a proposed uranium enrichment facility in South Africa aimed at producing commercial quantities of high-assay, low-enriched uranium Hallow. ASP is also in discussions with several financial institutions to secure additional funding for the construction of the Hallow production site. Alongside the loan agreement, ASP and TerraPower signed 2 supply agreements, one for the initial core supply to fuel TerraPower's Natrium reactor project in Wyoming, and a second long-term agreement for up to 150 metric tons of Hallow from 2028 to 2037. The 2 companies also agreed to explore opportunities to develop further uranium enrichment facilities in the United States.
Qualcomm's custom CPUs to boost AI power with Nvidia NVLink Fusion. Qualcomm plans to launch custom central processing units, CPUs, for data centers, specifically designed to connect with Nvidia's artificial intelligence chips. This move marks Qualcomm's re-entry into the data center CPU market, leveraging Nvidia technology to enhance communication between its CPUs and Nvidia's dominant GPUs, crucial for high-performance AI workloads. The upcoming CPUs will incorporate Nvidia's NVLink Fusion technology, enabling direct, high-speed connections to Nvidia GPUs within data center environments. Previously, Nvidia's GPUs have been paired with CPUs from Intel and AMD. Nvidia has recently entered the CPU market itself with its ARM-based Grace CPU, intensifying competition. Astera Labs teams up with Nvidia to boost NVLink Fusion connectivity. Astera Labs announced on Monday its collaboration with Nvidia to deliver scale-up connectivity solutions for the new Nvidia NVLink Fusion ecosystem. Sanjay Gajendra, President and Chief Operating Officer of Astera Labs, said, "By adding NVLink solutions to our intelligent connectivity platform, we will enhance optionality and time to market for our hyperscaler customers and expand our market opportunity." GE Vernova soars to record high as TVA pushes ahead with new small nuclear reactor. GE Vernova's stock hit a record high of $446.60 on Tuesday after the Tennessee Valley Authority, the largest U.S. public power company, filed an application to the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission to build BWRX-300, a small modular reactor developed by GE Vernova Hitachi Nuclear Energy. TVA said its construction permit application is the next step in pursuing an SMR at its Clinch River site near Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and establishing America's energy dominance to power artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and advanced manufacturing. The announcement follows a recent decision from Ontario's provincial government in Canada to build the same GE Hitachi SMR.
D-Wave launches breakthrough quantum system Advantage 2 with over 4,400 qubits. D-Wave Quantum shares closed nearly 26% higher on Tuesday, following the launch of its most advanced quantum computing system, Advantage 2, which the company says is capable of solving problems that classical computers cannot. The system is now generally available and can be accessed through D-Wave's quantum cloud service by users in over 40 countries. Advantage 2 boasts over 4,400 qubits, more than 40,000 couplers, and 20-way connectivity, making it a major step forward in quantum computing capabilities. In an interview with Seeking Alpha, CEO Alan Barat said they have more than 130 customers today, and more than 70 of those are commercial. The rest are research, education, and government clients. Amazon's Zoox targets Atlanta in next robotaxi rollout. Amazon's Zoox is preparing to expand its robotaxi operations to Atlanta, starting with mapping the city's streets using its retrofitted Toyota Highlander SUVs with human safety drivers this summer. These vehicles will collect data ahead of a future rollout of fully autonomous, purpose-built robo-taxis without a driver's seat, steering wheel, or gas and brake pedals. Zoox already operates test fleets in cities including San Francisco, Las Vegas, Miami, Austin, Seattle, and Los Angeles, with plans to begin offering full autonomous public rides in Las Vegas and San Francisco later this year.
Alphabet's Waymo approved to expand robo-taxi service in Bay Area. Waymo, Alphabet's self-driving division, has received regulatory approval from the California Public Utilities Commission to expand its robo-taxi service across the San Francisco Bay Area, including most of San Jose. In addition, Waymo has begun offering robo-taxi rides to waitlisted customers in Atlanta through its partnership with Uber, with a full launch planned for this summer. Its autonomous ride-hailing service, Waymo One, already operates over 250,000 paid trips weekly in Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin, with Miami and Washington, D.C. targeted for expansion in 2026. Fortnite returns to Apple App Store after 5-year ban. Epic Games' hit title Fortnite has officially returned to the Apple App Store in the US, ending a nearly 5-year absence due to a legal battle over in-app payment policies. The comeback follows a judge's ruling that Apple violated a court order mandating more open competition in its App Store. Epic, partially owned by China's Tencent, initially clashed with Apple in 2020 over its commission fees. Michael Ashley Schulman of Running Point Capital Advisors told Reuters that Fortnite's return could reshape iOS economics over the next 12 to 18 months.
Jony Ive joins forces with OpenAI in $6.5 billion deal to design the future of AI hardware. OpenAI announced a major $6.5 billion deal to acquire I.O., a hardware startup backed by Sir Jony Ive, the former Apple design chief renowned for his work on the iPhone and Mac. Of the total, $5 billion will be paid in stock, with the remaining $1.5 billion representing a 23% stake OpenAI had already acquired in I.O. in Q4 2024, according to Bloomberg. As I.O. merges with OpenAI, Jony and Love From will assume deep design and creative responsibilities across OpenAI and I.O., OpenAI said in a statement. The first products resulting from the partnership are expected to debut in 2026.
Trump's Big Beautiful Bill may raise deficit by $3.8 trillion, cut health coverage, slash clean energy aid. The House narrowly passed a Republican-backed bill, 215 to 214, that proposes $3.8 trillion in tax cuts, including an extension of Trump's 2017 tax law, while ending or rolling back key green energy incentives and introducing significant social spending cuts. The legislation would accelerate the phase-out of tax credits for solar and wind projects by 2028 and eliminate the 30% rooftop solar tax credit. The bill is worse than feared for clean energy, Jefferies analyst said, but we don't expect this to last into Senate draft. The bill also seeks to allocate $150 billion for defense, which would cover Trump's mass deportation efforts and border security. The most divisive proposals in the bill are the stricter Medicaid and SNAP eligibility, potentially saving $925 billion over a decade, but at the cost of 7.6 million Americans losing health insurance. The Congressional Budget Office projects the tax changes would increase the federal deficit by $3.8 trillion and disproportionately benefit top earners.
OpenAI's Sam Altman, Jony Ive teased screenless AI device to replace your phone. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman recently gave employees a preview of the AI devices he's developing with former Apple designer Sir Jony Ive, aiming to ship 100 million AI companions that seamlessly integrate into daily life, The Wall Street Journal reported. Altman and Ive offered limited details about their secretive project, but the product is described as being fully aware of a user's surroundings and life. It will be unobtrusive, small enough to fit in a pocket or sit on a desk, envisioned as a third-core device a person would put on their desk after a MacBook Pro and an iPhone, according to the report. Crucially, it will not be a phone, and the design's intent is to help users let go of screens. Altman confirmed the device is not a pair of glasses and that Ive had been skeptical about building something to wear on the body. Ive called the project a new design movement, while Altman referred to the hardware lineup as a family of devices. According to analyst Ming-Chi Kuo of TF International Securities, the current prototype is about the size of an iPod Shuffle and has cameras and microphones for environmental detection, but no screen display. It can be worn around the neck and is expected to connect to PCs and smartphones for display purposes. Kuo's checks suggest mass production will begin in 2027, with assembly and shipping happening outside of China to mitigate geopolitical risk.
Trump to invoke emergency powers to boost U.S. nuclear industry. Nuclear energy stocks rose in after-hours trading Thursday, following a Reuters report that President Donald Trump is preparing to sign executive orders aimed at revitalizing the U.S. nuclear energy industry. The orders could be signed as soon as Friday and are expected to streamline the approval process for new nuclear reactors and bolster domestic fuel supply chains. A draft summary of the orders reveals Trump plans to invoke the Cold War-era Defense Production Act to declare a national emergency, citing U.S. dependence on Russia and China for enriched uranium, nuclear fuel processing, and advanced reactor inputs.